episode 18 of Trev's Wrestling Show here on Trev TV. I'm the Trev. You know that. If you're tuning in, if you're watching, that's too sweet. Anyway, tonight was WWE Stomping Grounds, and if you remember, I made a prediction video, links in the description below, about what I thought the match card would, all the outcomes from the card anyway, before I start speaking gibberish and can't even understand myself. All in all, there were 9 matches on the cards, but I made 10 predictions. I predicted the guest referee, and we'll go over my predictions right now. Starting on the pre-show with the WWE Cruiserweight Championship on the line. You get the champ, Tony Nese, versus Drew Gulak versus Akira Tozawa. And for the longest time, I kept forgetting Tozawa's name. Oh my goodness, it's been so long since I've seen anything out of Tozawa, much less anything of note out of the Cruiserweights. But I watched along anyway. And for 11 minutes and 20 seconds, it was a pretty good match for a spot fest. I mean, everybody got their time in, they got their movesets in. You know, they got their high spots, their flow spots. Everything went well. All in all, like I said, it was what it was for a cruiserweight match. I mean, because it ended at 11:20, I'm giving this 3 stars. Drew Gulak was the winner. It seemed like it was a lot of Gulak versus Nese in this whole match. So I'm thinking that's probably the feud they're going to lead to with this belt after this, is a Gulak-Nese feud. And no, that won't be exciting to me. That will be exciting to see if it's written right, you know. But you know, WWE writers, how well can they write well? Anyway, moving on. First match on the main show was for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. And I'm surprised they threw this on so early. They had the champ, Becky Lynch, versus Lacey Evans. Very surprised. Like, it's not often they start off with a championship match, but let alone from one of their white hot stars. But we'll see. I mean, it can't be a bad thing, can it? Very submissive, dominant match for Lacey Evans. Like, for the amount of time they had, she was on the offensive end, and it was all submission based, and she did pretty damn well, actually. She focused more on the left side, on the ribs, on the arm, all that fun stuff. But at least a good 3-4 minutes, it was all Lacey. I mean, Becky managed your babyface comebacks, attempted to disarm her, that didn't work. Another comeback with some near falls. Evans kicks out of a Bexploder, which everybody's doing, really, nowadays. It's not the power move it used to be, but whatever. Becky does get the disarmer on her again, to a point where Evans is tapping out right away. The match went 11 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm giving this one 3 stars as well. I mean, the obvious spot calling, there was a couple of, I want to say there was a couple botches I noticed. I would have gave it 3.5. But because of the spot calling, it was distracting. And it could have been so much better. It really could have. Up next, we got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the team from the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods. Right off the bat, the match is starting with a Kevin Owens super kick party. He gave 1 to Big E and 3 to Xavier Woods. And both Zayn and Owens are pulling off their finishers. They want to end this match quick. Probably for good reason. I mean, as soon as the New Day starts rolling, they're hard to stop. Owens and Zayn really worked on Woods. Like, they kept him isolated. Big E was on the floor a good chunk of the match. And they were working Woods for minutes. Really, really well in isolating him from Big E. Eventually, Big E did get tagged in. I started going right to town on Sami Zayn. Some near falls and some Zayn reversals with a Helluva kick. Walked into a pop-up powerbomb by Kevin Owens. And I thought that was it, but that wasn't. That was just a near fall. Big E takes out Sami Zayn from the middle of the rope onto the floor with a suicide dive. And Owens hits the stunner on Xavier Woods. It was only a matter of time till Owens brought out the stunner, right? And he got the pin on that, 1, 2, 3. Lots of good spots in this match. Lots of very good spots. Very dominant for Owens and Zayn, which it needed to be. I mean, you don't want these guys going back to having nothing to work with, right? Match went 11 minutes and 5 seconds. I'm giving this one a solid 3. I didn't think I was going to give more than 3 for this one. I mean, can't expect classics out of those ones. I don't know why. It's almost impossible to expect a classic. Up next was the United States Championship. You had the champ, Samoa Joe, taking on Ricochet. I wanted to give this match the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to look at it as more of a match and not so much a launch pad for Ricochet. And really, that's all it really felt like to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. Joe got in his moves. Ricochet got in his moves. You know, but it was very Joe dominant. Like, Joe was laying the boots and giving the beatings. But, you know, Ricochet obviously can do a lot of really good things. Or lots of really good things. But, I mean, your spots were pretty much where they were expected to be, what they were expected to be. And Ricochet did win. You know, getting the 630 for the pin. Match went 12 minutes, 25 seconds, and I'm only giving it a 2.5. And this is going to be a sad theme for this card at this point. The only reason I'm giving it 2.5 is because it was predictable. Too predictable. Up next, you got the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. You got the team of Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery, which is Tucker and Otis. Now, Daniel Bryan is getting the hometown babyface chance, despite not being from Tacoma. He's from Aberdeen, not Tacoma. So it's the home state chant. So good on him, you know, get some babyface heat, even though you're the heel, or at least you're supposed to be. Very back and forth with Bryan and Tucker. I mean, they were going for minutes. Rowan gets in and takes right over. As soon as Rowan's in, everything's like on the ground and everything's chaos at that point because Rowan's just kicking all the ass. Daniel Bryan on the outside in a tag match is a very crafty individual. Almost good to have on the outside. Bryan and Rowan did a good job of isolating Tucker from Otis, which is, I don't know, I mean, Rowan's a big guy, so is Tucker, so it worked out well that way. Otis did manage to get in and took right over on Bryan. I mean, there were parts where, you know, every day I keep worrying every time I see Daniel Bryan in the ring that something's going to bump his head and that's going to be it. But so far, everything's okay. Bryan had a nice series of yes kicks before Otis took over again and then tried the pin after the Caterpillar. Now, if you've never seen the Caterpillar, look up the Worm. If you've never seen the Worm, you're not missing much. He tried ending the match with a Caterpillar. The Worm with a fancy name. Tucker tried a shooting star press. And he missed. I think he might have caught Bryan in the legs, but he missed what it was supposed to do anyway. Bryan with momentum, but Tucker took him out again. Bryan managed a small package pin on Tucker for the pin and the win. The match went 14 minutes 25 seconds. I'm giving this a 3.5. And do I dare say match of the night? It's a very solid tag match. I mean, we almost had no business seeing this match at all, but it was good. It told the story it needed to, and it kept the firm affirmation that maybe Bryan and Rowan are the tag team, you know, in WWE right now. Up next, you got the SmackDown Women's Championship. You got the champ, Bayley, versus Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross. Remember that theme I was saying? Yeah, it was very back and forth. I mean, there was a nice moment where Bliss just smacked the taste right out of Bayley's mouth. That was nice to see. But really, like I say, it was back and forth. There were some near falls, but it was near the end where Bliss went for the Twisted Bliss, and Nikki Cross had her distracted long enough that while she could still perform the move, Bayley got the knees up, countered with the Bayley to belly. 1, 2, 3 in the win. Predictable. I did say in my predictions video that Nikki Cross was going to be the X Factor. And for fair certainty, yeah, she cost Alexa Bliss the match. The match went 2:35, or 10:35, sorry. I'm giving it a 2.75. I really hoped for a Bliss win. I really hoped that, you know, the story of Bayley not being able to defend her belt on her first defense was going to play into all this, and then she was going to just give herself shit and whatever else. But I'm guessing they might have an idea in mind for Bayley. Hard to say. I'm not the writers. I don't try to be, but we'll see, I guess. Our next match is Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Again, the theme of predictable. We start off the match with Shane McMahon, because, you know, it's Shane McMahon, of course. So, and he's the best in the world, so we have to sit through that introduction again. Thanks. The match started before the bell, actually, as Roman was laying the boots into McIntyre before they finally both got in the ring. And then from there, it was all McIntyre. I mean, he was laying the boots, and he was just dominating the whole match. Lots of good power strikes. There wasn't a lot of near falls in the beginning, and in the beginning it felt really, really slow to me. I mean, I was getting caught up in the crowd chanting, "This is awful." So that alone says it all. I mean, of course, Reigns made the babyface comeback, even managed to get a Superman punch on Shane on the outside, but missed with a drive-by on McIntyre, which cost him a bit. And by a bit, I mean like a wheelbarrow slam onto the announce table. Very nice spot. It looked painful. Like, I cringed when I saw it, but it looked painful. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. McIntyre dominated for a bit more. And then Roman made his comeback again. He even managed a pinfall that the ref got to 2 before Shane interfered and took the ref out. So, of course, with the ref out, Shane gets involved, and we managed to see a coast-to-coast with no trash can, just with his bare feet from this corner to the next. And right there, you think, oh, Reigns is out. No. The ref comes back in, he counts 1, 2. Oh, no, that's only 2. Reigns makes his babyface comeback, tosses Shane out, gets a spear on Drew. 1, 2, 3, match is over. Match went 17 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm giving this a 2.75. As I said in the beginning, for me, it started off slow. Having Shane in the match just sucks. Hopefully they're done with this Reigns, McMahon, Drew McIntyre feud, and they just move both of them on to something different. Because I'd love to see them move on to something different. I'm done seeing Shane McMahon. I'm done with this wild card. Just, hopefully they're done. Up next, we got the WWE Championship, which I forgot to mention was defended in a steel cage. Get the champ, Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. Really? Again? We just saw this how many weeks ago, and now we're seeing it again. I mean, the difference is, yeah, it's in a steel cage, but meh. I forgot to mention, though, this was a steel cage. Lots of early escape finishes. No real early momentum for either one. It was very back and forth for at least a good quarter of the match. I mean, they were both taking full advantage of the no DQ and the no rope breaks and all that fun stuff. So it was good that they reminded themselves that it's a cage match. Rope breaks don't mean nothing. Ziggler gained some momentum after it looked like Kingston tweaked his knee up a bit. And then on came the super kicks. And Dolph almost sent Kingston out with one of those super kicks. But he recovered. You know, he managed to bring him back in. Got some more offense out. So that was good from that. A bit more back and forth. There's a couple Trouble in Paradise attempts that Dolph managed to kick out of both. It's awesome. Near the end of the match, you know, Dolph's got himself about halfway out of the ring. Kofi just comes running behind him and flies out over him. Both feet touch the floor. Kofi escapes for the win. Match went a solid 20 minutes even. But I'm only giving this 2.25. It was a good match, don't get me wrong. But, again, being it's just a rematch from the Super Showdown, we just saw this. I don't think it was really a match we needed. I mean, sure, it might be the match we deserve, and it might be the match that we have, but it's not the match we need right now. Up next is your WWE Universal Championship, and your main event for the night. It's the champ, Seth Rollins, versus Baron Corbin. And the gimmick in this match is there's a special guest referee. And if you remember my prediction video, I predicted ref. This is the first prediction I'm getting wrong. Obviously, I picked Brock Lesnar to be the ref. Lacey Evans was announced as the ref. And remember that thing I told you about predictability? Right off the bat, it's like, oh, geez, they're going to incorporate Becky into all this. And, you know, it's going to be like, oh, us versus them and yada, yada, yada. The bell didn't even ring for a good 2 minutes. So there was 2 minutes of just work with the chair by Corbin and by Rollins. But first bit of the match was all Corbin. And, I mean, it sucked. I mean, let's not hide behind a wall here. Corbin is not main event material. And the fact that we're having to watch him again in a main event, done. Just done. But no matter how hard you try, Corbin's just not going to get over right now as a main eventer or somebody who's even who I would call competition for a world championship, because the Universal Championship is a world championship. Later in the match, it became a no count-out match, as Lacey just stopped counting, so she's like, yeah, no count-outs. Not long after that, it became a no DQ match. So Rollins was doing all the dominating after all the rule changes, but Lacey wasn't even counting by this point, which of course brought out Becky Lynch and an actual official. As soon as the actual referee came in, Seth took the match over, and it was just like a stomp and a win, done. Match went 18 minutes, 25 seconds. I'm only giving this a 2.5. The gimmick of this match ruined it for me. I get having Evans as a heel ref, what kind of sense that makes, but just because it makes sense, just because it tells a good story for other people, doesn't mean you have to do it. But again, Corbin as a main eventer ruins this match for me. I've never been a fan of Corbin. I don't suspect I ever will be. But meh. So that was my reaction to Stomping Grounds. As I said, going into this video, I made 10 predictions. There were 9 matches on the card. I made 10 predictions. I'm 9-1. Meaning, aside from the special guest ref, I predicted this match perfectly. I predicted this card perfectly from pre-show to the end. I didn't predict the match order perfectly, but, you know, the copy I have doesn't necessarily translate to what they put out. But overall, I'll give this card a 2.75 out of 5 for the effort, but I'm only giving it a 1 star for being so goddamn predictable. So, whatever scorecard you want to take out of that, feel free to do that. Whether you're calling it a 2.75 like I am, or a 1, it's up to you. I mean, it wasn't a bad pay-per-view. I'm not saying it was terrible. There are other pay-per-views that have that. But again, it was too easy to call. And this was without me even paying attention to much of the build-up, other than what they were talking about in the beginning of the matches. But I shouldn't be able to call a pay-per-view card like that, especially not a WWE pay-per-view card. That was episode 18, Trev's Wrestling Show here on Trev TV. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you did. Your viewership's always appreciated here. I appreciate you when you watch me. I'm thankful you're tuning in. I'm thankful you're giving it the thumbs up. I'm thankful you're commenting. It's all good shit. So, thanks again for coming back. If you really want to, you can find Trev TV on Facebook at Trev's TV. And if you really want to, you can find Trev TV on Instagram at rockstartrev TV. Moving forward, well, I got one video I do want to make, which is it's more of a Trev TV video, basically just explaining the state of the channel, yada, 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 all that fun stuff. Nothing bad at all. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be making videos. But yeah, it's basically it's an open question, I guess, essentially is what I'm trying to say. But I do have another wrestling video with the Fighter Fest coming up, so I'm going to be predicting and reacting to that. July 1st is coming up, so that's free agency day in the NHL. And that'll probably be, unless I think of something along the way, or a major trade happens, one of the last hockey videos I do till at least September. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, like we always do. So in the meantime, and in between time, be looking out for more videos from Trev. Later.